Shalom, welcome to the Jewish Task Force, J.T.F. My name is Chaim Ben Pesach. This program is dedicated to elevating the souls of Sharon Mitman, Malka Bat Meir, Allegra Bat Shlomo, and David Ben Avraham. Our internet site is jtf.org, jtf.org.
Guys, welcome to Global Insights, and today I'm hosting, as many times in the past, our friend in New York and the activist of Jewish community there, Chaim Ben Pesach. Welcome.
Thank you, Alex. Good to see you again.
And we are getting closer and closer to the elections in New York City, and I would say it's a battle for New York and maybe a battle for the future of the democracy in general. And what is currently the chances that the Zohran Mamdani not will be elected as the next mayor of New York?
There's always a chance, but he probably will win because he's running against three different candidates who are splitting the anti-Mamdani vote. And so it's difficult to defeat him in a situation like that. And all three refuse to withdraw from the race. So he probably will win. But you never know in politics. There's always a chance that something can happen to stop him from getting elected. He is a real danger. He's a danger.
But if the opponents of Mamdani would unite and around one candidate, could in this case, could they win the race, or still the Democrats and Mamdani will prevail?
I think they would have a good chance of winning. They would have a good chance. Again, in politics, nothing is certain. But I think if it was just two candidates in the race, there would be a good chance that they could defeat Mamdani. I think it is possible.
Yeah.
If they would unite.
Yeah. Do you think it was a mistake by the Democrats to, for the Cuomo to run for this job and all this, I don't know, different stories about him in the past, which were revealed during the race and probably affected the vote. So it was, for the Democrats, it was a hard vote. Yeah, on one side you have an extreme Muslim Islamic extreme Islamist candidate. On the other hand, you had Cuomo, which is not with the perfect biography, I would say that.
Yeah, that's very true. And one of the reasons Andrew Cuomo lost is because of his past history, which there are a lot of problems with his past history. But the fact that someone like Zoran Mamdani won the Democratic primary, over 1 million Democrats voted in the primary, and they voted for him. 56% voted for him. He won by a big majority. That says a lot about the Democrat Party. And right now, none of the major Democrats in the United States are condemning him or disassociating themselves with him. Some of them have endorsed him, and others are just saying, well, we're impressed with his candidacy and other nice things about him. Almost no one in the Democrat Party is condemning him. And let's understand just how dangerous this candidate is.
But there are some voices in the Congress, from what I see, that a Florida congresswoman was not easy. Wasserman Schultz. Yeah. So there are some voices in the Democratic Party, but I don't know if they can really affect the situation in New York.
First of all, it's a very small, the voices that you're referring to in the Democrat Party are very few. Very few are speaking out against him. And the ones who are speaking out against him are not saying, we condemn him, we're against him, we will never support him. That they're not saying. They're just saying they're concerned about what he's saying. It's obscene. It's just obscene.
Yes, they're concerned that he said globalize intifada and he's so pro-BDS activist. That's what concerns, yeah.
Well, and globalize the intifada. The intifada, of course, is the Arab Muslim terrorist campaign against the Jews of Israel, where 2,000 Jews were murdered in the two intifadot, in the two intifadas against Israel. 2,000 Jews in the end were murdered.
Yeah, exactly. What does it mean, globalize intifada? What, to hunt Jews all over the world? What is the meaning of that?
Yes.
Very problematic.
Jews, and not only Jews, there's another coded meaning there for the Muslims. all non-Muslim infidels, because the Intifada in the end would be directed not only against the Jews, but against all non-Muslim infidels. So in other words, it's a code word for terrorist murder attacks against non-Muslims. And for him to take a slogan like that and then refuse to disassociate himself about it, and he lied about it. He said that it means peace. It means that we're going to make peace. That's what it means.
I have a question for you, Jaime. You are involved within the Jewish New York community. And in New York, we have a substantial number of Jewish voters who will participate in the election. And we saw even in this internal elections in the Democratic Party that many Jews supported Mamdani. Why is that happening? And if the Jewish vote would be united against Mamdani, could it, change the course of these elections?
Oh, of course it could, but that's not going to happen, because you're right. There are many Jews who are against Israel and who want Israel, literally openly say they want Israel to be destroyed. You have columnists for the New York Times who write that it was a mistake to create Israel and Israel should be eliminated. I mean, they're openly writing this. Peter Beinart has said that it was a mistake. Zionism was a mistake, and he now realizes Israel shouldn't exist. Israel has no right to exist. This is the assimilationist, self-hating movement in the Jewish community is very, very large. Remember, 78% of American Jews voted for Barack Hussein Obama, who was certainly anti-Israel when he ran for president, very anti-Israel, and 78% of American Jews voted for him. So I don't know if Israeli Jews are aware of the fact that their brothers and sisters in the United States are not like Israelis at all. Completely different situation. And I think it's disgraceful, but they're voting for somebody who hates them, who literally hates them and wants an intifada against them, and they're giving him money and they're supporting him. Brad Lander, who is the city controller, has endorsed him, and Congressman Gerald Nadler has endorsed him. Senator Chuck Schumer said, I had a very good discussion with him. We're discussing the issues, and I think he's going to fight against anti-Semitism. He's going to fight against anti-Semitism. He incites anti-Semitism all the time, day and night. I mean, it's really unbelievable what a tragedy we have in the American Jewish community. That's the real story here. That's the real story here. How American Jews how many American Jews don't support Israel and don't even support their own survival. It's insanity.
Yeah. So in this case, you actually expect that he will take the elections eventually?
I think so. New York usually votes 80% Democrat. New York City is overwhelmingly Democrat and a very left-wing city. And the Jews in New York City are very left-wing, most of them. So it's very, it's going to be difficult, but he is so extreme. He is such an extreme candidate that it is possible that he could be defeated despite all of that. There's a possibility. Just to give you an example of an American issue where he's very extreme, and we know he hates Israel and he doesn't want Israel. He refuses to say that Israel has a right to exist as a Jewish state. I mean, he wants Israel eliminated. There's no question about it. But on an American issue, he says that we should dismantle the police. We should dismantle the police force. And instead of having police, we should have social workers go out in the community and take care of crime. Social workers are going to have people are shooting people in the streets and murdering people in their drug gangs and all types of crazy things. New York is a very violent city with a lot of crime, with a very high crime rate. And he's saying we should dismantle the police and have social workers go out and take care of the problem. Most New Yorkers don't agree with him on that. Most New Yorkers are afraid of a proposal to dismantle the police. He's a socialist. And he wants to give free food to everybody and free transportation, everything free to everybody. Who's going to pay for all of this? How can you pay for this? I mean, we know socialist countries and socialist societies, we know that it doesn't work. It leads to collapse in the end. We saw in the Soviet Union. We saw in communist China until they started capitalizing. Communist China, tens of millions of people died of starvation under Mao Zedong. We see what happens with real socialism. It doesn't work. But he's advocating a program like this in New York City. New York City's whole economy can collapse if this happens. And that will have a big effect on the American economy, because New York City is not only the most important, the richest, the largest city in the United States, it's also the headquarters for Wall Street, for the stock market that controls the American economy. And American businesses and American companies are threatening to leave the city if he's elected. So we could be headed for a real crisis here. But one lesson, there's one thing we should keep our eye on here now. If the Democrats nominate somebody like this and support somebody like this for mayor of New York, what does that mean 3 years from now when we have a race for president of the United States? What if a Democrat is elected president from the same party that nominated Mamdani? What will that mean for Israel? What will that mean for the Jews? And what will it mean for America? I think it's a serious question that we have to ask when we see this election.
Yeah, true. There is any way that the Democratic Party would cancel his nomination and choose another candidate if we reveal more and more facts about his extremist activities in the campuses? And after all, if he is supporting anti-Semitism and all these anti-Semitic activities, well, it's not enough to stop him from running.
At this point, they can't. Legally, they can't.
No way, no legal way to stop
because
him.
It was a primary. People vote in the primary. You can't undo the primary. The only way that could happen is if he resigned. Only if he himself, which he's not going to do. So no, they can't do it, and they wouldn't do it anyway. The Democrat Party, he really represents a lot of the Democrat Party. He represents them. We saw this in 2016. A resolution was put before the Democrat National Convention when they nominated Hillary Clinton for president to recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital. So they put the resolution in front of the delegates at the Democrat convention. All the delegates started booing and screaming and shouting against Israel. All of them. And then someone made a statement supporting Palestine and the Palestinian people against the Israeli occupant. And the whole convention started cheering and whistling and cheering and clapping. And this is a party that hates the Jews. They hate the Jews. They don't, and hates Israel. But the amazing thing here that many people it's hard for them to understand, and I know why they don't understand it, but it's true. The Jews in the party, many of them also are booing against Israel, also are clapping for Palestine. It's absolutely, it's really unbelievable, but it's something that Jews who care about, Jews and evangelical Christians who care about Israel and who love Israel and want Israel to survive. This is a real danger here, and it's a danger I think you see for America. Would it be good for America if America became a socialist country?
Okay, Chaim, in case the Democrats cannot do anything at this point of time, can president somehow prevent this elections, prevent him from being elected?
I don't know. President Trump has said that he's going to try. He said we can't have a communist mayor in New York. He has said that we're going to try.
But what he can do actually?
I don't know if he could do very much. I don't know what he could do. I know the governor of New York has the power to remove the mayor of New York. But the governor of New York we have now is not going to do that, because she is also a left-wing Democrat. We're going to have another election for governor next year. And if a Republican is elected, I don't know. I don't know what would happen. But realistically, if people are voting for this, if this is what people want, if large numbers of Americans want this, what does that mean? What does it mean about the future of the United States, and the future of a relationship with Israel, the future of Jews in the United States? What does it mean if many people are voting for somebody who is supporting anti-Semitism, who hates Israel and says he supports BDS 100%. BDS is the most, you can't get more anti-Semitic than BDS, where they're singling one country of all over 200 countries in the world. They take this one country, which happens to be, by the way, one of the freest countries in the world, one of the most just countries in the world, country that bends over backwards to help the Arabs. And they take this one little country, Israel, and single out Israel and say we must boycott and divest and have a complete boycott against Israel. Out of over 200 countries in the world, Israel is the country that they go after. They don't go after Iran. They don't go after Afghanistan. They don't go after all these vicious dictatorships that murder their own people. They go after Israel. That's not anti-Semitic. Of course it's anti-Semitic. And
the only democracy in the Middle East.
Yeah. And he openly supports. He openly supports BDS. He's one of the leaders of the BDS movement. And in the Democrat Party, many of the leaders support BDS. So, I think that this is a signal, again, something that I've been saying for many years. I've been saying this since I was a teenager. I'm 68 years old. So over 50 years, I've been saying Israel must find a way to become as independent as possible, because you never know when the United States is going to turn on Israel. When you'll have someone like this as president, Israel won't have any choice. Israel has to find a way to survive without the United States. Has to. No choice. Whether we like it or don't, we may not like it, but that's the way it is. That's reality. We can't ignore, we can't pretend.
But I think it's a bigger and wider problem than only Israel. The whole world would be very different and bad place to live if such persons would rule the United States, That's, I think, a wider problem.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It will have a very bad effect on the whole world. No question.
Can the president theoretically declare a state of emergency in New York, to prevent this? Or it's not possible, in fact?
I don't know if the laws permit, because the president would be the federal laws. I don't know if the federal law permits him to take action against New York. I know he could freeze funding to New York, which would have a big effect. He could freeze federal funding. I don't know exactly what he could do. I'm pretty sure. President Trump has said that he's going to take action against him. He said, I'm not going to allow this communist to destroy New York. He has said that. I also think that there's a possibility there'll be real violence in New York if he gets elected, that he'll incite violence, and there'll be pogroms. There are people in New York that want to do that, especially to the Jews. If that happens, there'll be pressure on the president and on the Republicans in Congress to take action against him. So I don't know. I don't know. I do think one good thing that would probably happen. There is one good thing. He'll be a complete failure as mayor. His policies are not going to work. You can't do what he's saying you're going to do. Everything's going to be free. Transportation's going to be free. Food is going to be free. Everything's going to be free. And he's also, in Los Angeles and in San Francisco, in many cities like Los Angeles, San Francisco, Chicago, you're now allowed to go into the store and steal. You're allowed to. The law says stealing is not illegal. You're allowed to.
And it also happens in Europe. For example, in Vienna, you can take iPhone and go out of the Apple store, and in fact, they don't do anything. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but in New York, if you have a mayor that allows that in New York, we have a population in New York, which is a little different than the population in most European countries. We have a population in New York that will go in and do that and will absolutely rob and steal and take everything out of those stores. In Los Angeles and in San Francisco, there are whole neighborhoods without any stores now. Because businesses are not going to stay there if you're going to come and steal all their merchandise. They're not going to stay. They can't do this. So all the businesses are closing down, and the cities are becoming like ghost towns, and millions of people are without. They can't go shopping. They can't do it. It's very, very, very bad. A very bad situation. They call it a food desert. Why is it a food desert? Because like in the desert, you can't get water. You can't get food anywhere. You can't even shop, because the places where they sell food, Everybody's stealing, so the grocery stores and the supermarkets all close down. If he creates that situation in New York, he's going to be a complete failure as mayor. And if he's a failure as mayor, hopefully that will convince people not to support this type of insanity. Hopefully, but who knows? It's also possible that they won't support his socialism, but still will continue to support the anti-Semitic part of his program. That's also a possibility. We're going to see. One thing's for sure: this is not good news that he's running so strongly in the race for mayor of New York, and it shows that there's building. That when we saw all these demonstrations after October 7th, all the anger and the hate and all these demonstrations, this should show people what's coming. And Americans, Jewish, non-Jewish, Christian, all Americans, what a threat to the United States this is. This is a real threat to the future of America. I mean, he is someone he's also anti-American. He also hates the United States. Is this what the American people want as in their leaders? I don't know. I hope that he'll be such a failure that will discourage the Democrat Party from continuing to present leaders like this. But you never know.
And Ben Pesach, thank you very much. And yeah, we are living not in the, let's say, easy times, but let's hope for the best. Guys, stay tuned for more on Global Insights channel.
Thank you, Alex.